What's up, good people? This is your friend, brother Robert W. JoJo Hill, the servant, the artist, and the author. I'm in the building on the night. Okay, check this out, man. I'm popping on live. This show tonight. This is a little. This is gonna be a little bit somber because it's very disturbing. It's a very disturbing piece. I saw a report today, and it said that 70% of black women in Fulton County, Georgia, which is a huge county in Atlanta, Georgia, near to Atlanta, Georgia, or that embraces Atlanta, Georgia. 70% of our women are HIV positive in that area. 70%. Now, here's the discouraging thing about that. I have a lot of friends in that area. A lot of people in the industry, a lot of people that I know, and more specifically, a lot of black females that I know that are single, that are looking to get married, get hitched, and make their thing happen. But how discouraging is that, man? Because what it says is that there's a large population of people that are infecting them, because you cannot have 70% of women being infected with HIV if they're not getting it from someplace. They have to be deriving it from someplace. And this is very, very, very disturbing, man. This is absolutely disturbing. It's unbelievable. The doctor, his name is Dr. Jackson L. Gates. He's the one who actually put up the first and initial video that I saw. I would show it, but I don't feel like going through the stuff to pull it up. But you guys can check it out yourself. And it just kind of messed me up. It jacked me up because what are we thinking? Like, what do we think that these things do not have a destination? These choices and things that we're doing, somehow we don't believe that these things have consequences. But ladies and gentlemen, I assure you, these things have extreme consequences. You cannot have a culture that is constantly being bombarded and forced to accept things that are abnormal, or that are outside of the context of normalized movement, as it were, and think that it's not going to have a consequence. It does, in fact, have a consequence. We may not like the doggone consequence, and we like to try to act like it doesn't exist, or try to create programming to help us to tolerate the consequence, but the consequence is there nonetheless. We're dealing with a whole nother something, ladies and gentlemen. 70% of our black people are infected in Fulton County, Georgia. According to this report, 70% of our women are HIV freaking positive. Do you understand that? You understand how off and how dramatic of a catastrophic event that could be? Because now you're dealing with not only the sickness as it affects that woman, but now you got to think about the children, because again, in our community, we're talking 60 to 80% of our women are mothers, and a great portion of them are single mothers. They're getting pregnant by somebody. Somebody is shooting the club up, getting these mugs pregnant, and they are potentially, particularly in that area, according to the statistic, according to the report, 70% of them are affected. 70%. Can you imagine getting on an airplane and it was a 70% chance of you smashing to the ground? Can you imagine if your child got on a school bus and it was a 70% chance that your child would not come home off that school bus? Not 30%, not 20%, not 50%. 70 freaking percent. But nobody thinks that this stuff has any consequential substance. It does, man. You cannot have this type of movement and think you're not going to have a consequence. It's going to create a consequence. So now we're dealing with this stuff on this level. And I always I want to hear from the LGBTQ community. I want to hear what the answer to that is. What is the answer to that? What is how do you justify that? How do we begin to justify that motion? How do we justify that? Make sure you guys click like and share, because I really need to push up this channel, because I'm telling you, on the other side of my social media, they're going to probably pull this stuff down, because it's just what they do. When you start talking about consciousness and things that are bring people into a particular sense of awareness. Now dig this, man. If we have 70% of our women being infected, what do you think is happening to these doggone children? What's happening with the babies? Because we know they're having kids. Statistically, we know that children are being born. It ain't no question about it. Children are being born. People are getting the crap banged out of them and having kids. But here's the problem. We have down low men who are going out and dibbling and dabbling in their choice in there. We can't tell them who to love. We can't tell them who to do that. That is not my business. That is not my concern. I have no dog in that race. People, do whatever the crap you want to do. I ain't got nothing to do with that. But we have to remember, it carries a consequence. But what is the consequence? It's not just, well, this is just what I choose. That is, in fact, what you choose. But understand, that choice is coming along with consequences. Because if you don't have people who's being forthright and saying very specifically, hey, man, I enjoy being with the same sex, or I enjoy doing this, if they're not being forthright and telling people that, according to this report, 70% of the women in that county are being infected. What in the crap do you do with that? That means for every 10 women that you see, 7 of them are HIV positive. So how do you begin to build something as a community? Because my concern and my charge is to speak towards into our community. What in the crap are we doing? What are we talking about? We have to understand that this is a great portion of control. I talked about this before in some previous shows. A lot of these things are stooped and rooted in control. It's about control. It ain't about, oh, you just like who you like. That ain't really the dynamic. As a group and as a culture, quite often, man, we simply don't think about the future. We don't think about the potential consequence of these choices. No one likes to think about it. And people, they'll get the crap off of here today. Hey, man, no, I can't watch this. I don't want to look at that. Because it forces you to think about some stuff that you don't normally like to think about. It creates a massive dissonance in your head. You don't want to think about that because what you're being taught and what you believe and what you know as facts are contradicting each other. They're conflicting. It's creating a massive amount of dissonance in the mind. So if you don't get this, if you don't understand, man, this stuff is off. I talked about Kevin Hart the other day and how the LGBTQ community is trying to force this guy into a posture that is not his belief system. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine someone being able to force you into a belief system that you don't necessarily carry? That's not my belief system. But I can try to forcibly imply and force my belief system on you. This is why I never do that. I have no intention of forcing my belief system on anybody. People do it the crap you want to. My job is to show and point out specific things that reveal truth. Reveal truth. Truth above facts. Facts and truth, they have to be somehow in the same area of communication. So then you have to then make a choice based upon the truth and based upon the facts. But again, you know, we have a culture that says we don't really need truth. We don't need facts. Bump that. Do whatever you want. Now we're looking at the consequence. Now in a city like Atlanta that represents a populace, a sample populace. It represents a sample of a population. 70% of black women are HIV positive, according to this report. The doctor's name was Dr. Jackson L. Gates, who did the report. He said he was very disturbed about it. He said he's heard it on public radio, some kind of public announcement. It was spoken up there. It was a medical doctor. 70% of our women, 70% of our black women are HIV positive. I'm going to keep saying that because I need that to resonate extremely loud into the minds of us, man, to our minds, man. This is crazy. So that means the children are somehow going to be affected. So ultimately, you're going to start knocking people out of the equation because people won't start falling off. They can start dying off because everybody, first of all, doesn't have the resources to even pay for the treatment of sorts. They don't have the money like that. They don't have the stuff that's going to help them get out of this crap. They don't have that. But you have people that's constantly moving inside of areas of pure sickness and deterioration, and they're going to be losing their stuff because what's going to happen when you get to a certain level of sickness, they're going to kick you off the insurance stuff. They ain't going to carry you. It's going to be all kind of stuff. You're going to see a consequence. If this is where it is in 2018, can you freaking imagine what this thing is going to be in 2050? Can you imagine what the crap that's going to be like in 2060? But nobody likes to think about that. Everybody thinks that it doesn't have any merit, like there is no consequence later. You have to think about the future. People going out here, you got guys that's hooking up with guys, and then they're coming right back, and they're hooking up with all these different women. And statistically speaking, particularly in an area like Atlanta, you're talking about 12 to 18 women for every one guy. So that means you got one guy. Let's say you got a guy, and he's into some alternative lifestyle stuff, and he goes out here and he dabbles, and then he pops back in, And he now hooks up with girl number 1. Then he hooks up with girl number 2, girl number 6, girl number 8, girl number 10. And he's going back and forth between these women because the women's choices have been drastically reduced in an area like that because, you know, the alternative lifestyle for men is so widely accepted in that area. But you have to understand that's not the only place. It's just a sample population. And if you understand it's just a sample population, you'll see this is in fact being represented everywhere in other places as well. This just happens to be the sample populace that they've taken. 70 freaking % of our women? And you don't think that this is an agenda? No, this is a specific agenda. Population control is very real. These things are very, very, very real. It's not a mistake that the CDC happens to be in Atlanta. So the place that should be controlling and helping to navigate through all this craziness happens to be the very place that this statistically happens to be at this high rate. This is not a mistake, people. Understand. This is not a mistake. You can think of it as a mistake. You can say, well, hey, this is just something that happens to be. And I'm telling you that there is absolutely no truth in that. It is a fact. This is what the ham and cheese is happening. And if you don't get that, hey, man, you do what the heck you want. I had to pop this piece on here today. I want you guys to pop on and check out the show. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Please do that because I want to keep you guys posted. Because social media, they'll knock stuff out. They'll break the proverbial bank on us and say, oh, no, we don't want this stuff to show. They'll ban pages and knock out my channels and stuff like that because they've done it before. And so this one we're going to be kind of rebuilding. And I want you guys, please click like and share and subscribe. I need you guys to hit that subscribe button. Hit that button. I think it's on this side. Hit that subscribe button. Subscribe. Because I want to keep you guys posted as best we can. This system is based on pure hypocrisy and it's insane. We have 70% of our women that are dying. 70% of our women that are dying. Affecting the children. Affecting the people that they're hooking up with. So imagine you got people that are in this condition that's in a dormant stage. You don't even know it. And y'all better take these mugs to these places and get them checked. Find out. Get them papers. Say, hey, man, find out. Get that junk checked like a Carfax. It should be just like a dog car. Ooh, can't buy this car yet, man. I got to see what the crap is under this doggone hood, man. Has this thing been in an accident before? Has this thing has it been flooded? Has there been a flood on this doggone car? Have you experienced a hurricane? Did doggone Hurricane Helen soak out the seats and they just dragged you the crap out? Nah, man, y'all better realize some craziness going on with this stuff. 70% of our chicks? That's not a mistake. That's specific. That's freaking surgical precision. That's being very, 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 very specific. That's a very specifically targeted dynamic to eradicate and get rid of. Man, y'all, oh God, they're trying to get rid of us, man. They're trying to wipe us the crap out. So they say, oh, it's okay. Let our men think like this. It's okay. You don't have to be a real man. That doesn't matter. Bump being a real man. That don't matter. You don't need to be a real man. No, you don't need that. All you need to do whatever you want. Yeah, go ahead. Do whatever you want. Tell the people, tell the girls, do whatever you want. Tell everybody that you don't have to subscribe to your naturally and naturally designed positions. This ain't about no freaking subordination and all that crap. That ain't what we talking about. We're talking about the stuff that statistically will keep you in the best possible position. But they don't want you in the best possible position. They want you in a very vulnerable position that will essentially jack you the crap up. Do you understand? This is insane. 70% of our women are being affected. And my question was, where the crap are they getting these infections from? Where are they getting it from? How is that happening? You have this is just a couple of the things that's happening with our women. You're talking about they got all of a sudden our women getting all kinds of forms of cancer, cervical stuff, ovarian stuff, ovarian cancers and all this crazy stuff that we didn't have that as a group. But now we getting it. We seeing that crap all the freaking time. It's happening over and over and over and over. But why? But how? How is it happening? It's an agenda. It's something that's being pushed. And it doesn't help that our men are going out here and dabbling back and forth, banging the crap out of each other and then coming back in and banging these women. It's insane. It's gonna create something. It's gonna create a serious problem. But again, if you don't understand it, that's what it is. You just don't understand. But I trust that you will. All right, guys. This is your friend and brother Robert W. Jojo Hill, the servant, the artist, and the author. I want you guys to be encouraged, be empowered, and most of all, guys, be enlightened. Man, get the crap out here. Go get checked, man. Don't let these people just make you think that this crap is okay. Oh, you can just love them. You love it's okay. And if you talk about it, oh, you're a hate monger. I'm a freaking hate monger, just like they told Kevin Hart. Well, you're a hate monger. No, I understand that it's a consequence behind doing this. You can do whatever you want. I don't hate y'all. I'm not against you as people. I don't give a crap. But that's not my belief system. So if that's not my belief system, why the crap are y'all trying to force me into that crap? The reason why is because there is an ultimate agenda. It's something behind it. It's an ultimate agenda. If you don't understand this, man, you're just going to get caught up in the sauce. All right, man, I'm out. Just friend and brother. I'm out of this piece. And let's get the crap off.